The evolution of behavioral science has given us the tools to understand different contexts, theories, and complex human behavior. This helps us develop a better understanding of how we frame or anchor specific information, the different cognitive biases that cause people to act in certain ways, and the different ways in which each of us is uniquely wired. One particular theory has helped millions of people develop a greater understanding of how and why they make the decisions they do, and how they can influence the decisions of those around them. So today, we're going to look at this incredible brain trick to help you understand how your brain works. But first, make sure to give us a like, ring the bell for future notifications, and don't forget to subscribe to Brain Health Smarts to discover new and helpful ways to boost your brain health. Plus, stick around to learn how you can get a free gift. In order to survive, we need to be able to adapt to different zones of thinking. One of the most famous theories in behavioral science is the process of thinking fast and slow, popularized by Nobelist Daniel Kahneman. Also known as System 1 and System 2 thinking. This theory has been so widely adopted because it's so simple in nature. You don't need to be a behavioral science guru to understand and apply this concept to your own life. The intention behind this theory is to help us understand how the mind processes information. By developing an understanding of both systems, we can explore the ways these systems are influenced and how our behavior can be adapted in different directions. The discovery of both systems was a breakthrough in behavioral science because it highlighted the lack of reasoning involved in human decision-making. As human beings who make decisions each day, we think we're rational when it comes to the choices we make and the things we say and do. The theory of thinking fast and slow demonstrates that we're actually pretty irrational. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually crucial for our survival. On average, we make around 35,000 decisions each day, ranging from the steps you take and which direction you walk in, to the larger decisions that determine your future. We are constantly making tiny decisions, and if we had to consciously process all of these at once, our brains would crash. This is where these two important brain systems come in. Because in order for our brain to effectively organize the events that unfold around us, sometimes we're required to focus and act deliberately, while other times it's necessary to react automatically. Let's first take a look at System 1, or our more automatic and intuitive mechanism of thinking. System 1 is constantly activated because we're always digesting information that we need to react to, almost immediately. Whether that's in times of acute stress or problem solving, facing a perceived fear, or quickly trying to decipher the emotional cues of those around us. Every second we're adjusting to our environment, and our brain is trying to filter the incoming information and stimuli and organize it in a way that makes sense to us. This automatic way of thinking is almost intuitive, and it's largely involuntary. As quickly as we see a car speeding towards us, we don't need to process much to know we need to get out of the way. Our fast-thinking system, or System 1, is concerned with protecting System 2 in order to prevent information overload. By lightening the load on our more deliberate thinking system, System 1 takes care of familiar tasks and turns these into routines that we effectively perform on autopilot, also known as our habits. System 1 rapidly filters through information and ideas without us even noticing, and it prioritizes whatever seems to be the most relevant and lets go of the rest. Our fast-thinking system basically creates shortcuts to diffuse the constant, everyday influx of information to prevent us from cognitive overload. So now that we're familiar with System 1, or our fast-thinking brain, what about System 2? Don't forget to claim a copy of your free gift, the 15 worst and best foods for your brain. Discover which everyday foods can harm your brain and raise your risk of mental disorders, and which ones can enhance mental focus, boost mood, ease depression, and much more. Now, back to today's video. In contrast to System 1, System 2 is our deliberate brain system. We revert to System 2 when we're faced with a task that doesn't come naturally, or requires some level of continuous mental exertion. When you see an algebra equation, you immediately know that it's a multiplication equation, thanks to System 1. But you also know that it requires a bit more thought. Maybe you remember the equation from your school days, and you might be able to solve it with a pencil and some paper. But this scenario requires a much slower process when it comes to thinking and digesting information. That's when System 2 comes into play. System 2 is concerned with logical processes and situations where we need to pay attention. But paying attention isn't really the answer, because these kind of mentally exhaustive tasks can often make us blind to stimuli that would usually grab our attention. When we're focused on a task that requires a large amount of mental capacity, not only are we blind to things that are plainly obvious, but we're also unaware of the fact that we are blind in the first place. Understanding both systems helps us realize that each individual has their own unique perception of the world based on their unique brain systems. System 1 is constantly generating suggestions for System 2, like the feelings, intentions, and impressions we're gathering from the environment around us. If System 2 is activated or influenced by any of these suggestions, these impressions and impulses turn into beliefs and voluntary actions. Most of the time, System 2 works alongside System 1 and adopts these suggestions to form beliefs and act on our desires. Becoming aware of these systems can shape the way we perceive the world around us, because a lot of these thoughts and beliefs derive from the fast-thinking, autopilot habits that are created by System 1. So, as you can see, the theory of thinking fast and slow is a useful tool that helps us understand the incredible complexities of human decision-making. It also helps us influence and shape our own behavior, and gives us a more in-depth understanding of how we can help others make better decisions and broaden their own perspective of what's possible. That concludes today's video. We hope you've learned something new today, and that this video has helped you understand your brain and body a little better. Now, we'd like to know, have you heard of fast and slow thinking before? And is it helpful to be aware of this process in your own life? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to claim your free gift. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.